initiative BRI on the political proximity between China and North Africa. A case study of Saudi Arabia, Egypt, and Jordan. By the way, I don't need to take every word in the power.
All right, good.
I will
good.
talk as we talked before.
Sure, sure.
The Silk Road was one of the most important road in the history. I think during the Han Dynasty. Then China used this road for global commerce. The open door policy beginning in 1978 when China increasingly impact market principles after decides of central planning that result in poor production level. Then President Xi Jinping originally announced China Belt and Road Initiative, formerly known as the One Belt One Road Initiative. In 2013, as a large-scale infrastructure project aimed at enhancing transportation connections between nations. The program aims to improve regional connection and collaboration among states.
Aku sering.
With an emphasis at Central Asia at first, then to change to another country. The BRI initiative contains road on land and sea.
Oh, sorry. Did you unmute?
What?
Yeah, unmute. Are you speaking? Can people hear you? Yeah, unmute. Mute. Just to make sure, because we are also recording, right? Okay, yeah? Yeah, unmute.
All
right.
Okay.
That's good.
As I told you, BRI initiative contain road on land and sea.
Okay.
Of the previous statement,
Go ahead.
many academics believe that strengthening economic contact and cooperation between countries will lead to increased mutual interest and, as a result, increased political interaction between countries. A small number of this studies look at the benefit. It's normal like this.
I'm not sure that.
I think you need to mute to your PC. You need to mute.
Okay. Wait.
Hello? Okay. A small number of these studies look at the benefits political economic between China and nations in the Middle East since the BRC China, since the China launched.
This is annoying bit. Sorry. Let me turn this off. The voice is coming from who? Hello? Hello? Can you speak?
Hello?
Okay, you can.
experience.
Hello?
But I think Ilmu.
What would you suggest? Otherwise, a business plan. Choose the speaker.
Hello?
What is this thing here? Recording capture 9 hours.
Yes, you will turn up. Speaker. Now speak.
Hello?
Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. Again,
Okay. Well, this is good. Continue with problem statement. Yeah.
problem statement. Many academics believe that.
Relax, relax.
Okay. So. Okay. Problem statement. Many academics believe that expanding economic contact and cooperation between countries will lead to increased mutual interest and, as a result, increased political interaction between countries. Meanwhile, such studies contend that political tensions and disputes would have the detrimental impact on economic connections and international commerce.
Yeah.
A small number of these studies look at the beneficial political connections between China and nations in the Middle East. Since China launched the PRI in 2013, the majority of research have focused on the economic joint ties and their consequence for the economy and other industrial and commercial sectors. Few studies, on the other hand, seek to investigate the indicator that may be used to measure the political connections between the PRC and Middle East countries. For example, political closeness. However, the majority of research in the sector contend that their political interactions have not been elevated to the proper degree to balance their economic ties. The majority of academic attribute the absence of political contact between these nations to the oriented power in the Middle East. According to several analyses, these Middle Eastern countries are strategically aligned. As a result, both parties are taking their political relationships seriously. The study's main problem stems from a broad and central question. Did the general development in Chinese economic relation with Jordan, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt after 2013 reduce or increase the political distance between China and those countries? And if the political distance between China and other nations has shrunk, what are the reasons for this? And why hasn't the political divide between China and those countries shrunk? What stops the overall improvement in economic relation between China and these nations from narrowing the political gap? Such problematic questions, which must be answered using quantitative indicators of political distance and in a more comprehensive way away from any hasty conclusion to judge the Chinese political relations with the case study countries, are a basic pillar for understanding the reality of Chinese relations with those countries and a basic pillar for predicting their future. Research questions and objectives. based on the problem statement, the study has developed some questions that will identify through this case study. I have two questions. First one, how have the economic relations changed before and after the introduction of BRI in MENA? The second question, how has political proximity evolved, transformed, changed under BRI? To identify the specific answer of this question, the Korean study has developed specific objective to determine through the case study analysis. The objectives are to identify economic changes in KSA, Egypt, and Jordan before and after BRI, to measure the transformation of political proximity in KSA, Egypt, and Jordan with BRI introduction. Now, chapter number 2, literature review. The literature review is divided into 5 main sections as follows. Liberal theory, discussed BRI concept, Saudi Arabia and BRI, Egypt in BRI, and Jordan in BRI. In my study, I relied on a number of previous studies that dealt with several parts of the topic that my study will address as follows. For example, the liberal theory, I found many studies talking about the liberal theory. For example, liberalism such to replace hereditary privilege, state religions, absolute monarchy, civil right of kings, and traditional conservatism with representative democracy and the rule of law. And then I would take PRI. The section number 2, I will take BRI and Saudi Arabia, and I will take under the BRI and Saudi Arabia many indicators. I will take it in my studies. For example, trade exchange, investment, political proximity agreement, policy coordination, education, economic transformation, foreign direct investment, FDI, and same Saudi Arabia. I take Egypt and Jordan in the literature review. About the conceptual framework, I will take the BRI. Under BRI, I will take trade exchange and investment. Then from BRI, I take economic development. From economic development, I will take the 2 indicators, FDI and economic cooperation. Then I will take political relations. Under political relations, I will take political proximity. Under political proximity, I will contain many indicators such as agreement, policy, geopolitical, education, United Nations, voting. My school voting. Yeah. Okay. Methodology, research design. The study research methodology will be a mixed method approach that incorporated both qualitative and quantitative procedures in order to portray the phenomena under investigation as precisely as possible. The study will be applied quantitative data collection and analysis will be conjugated and follow up with qualitative data collection and analysis. Data gathering will be done in a sequential manner. Both quantitatively and qualitatively method will be used. Data from respective website of the country, World Bank report of country data from 2003 to 2022 will be analyzed. About philosophy and research paradigm, there are very variety of methods to do market research to boost the economic of any country. quantitative tactics centered of statistical measures and analytical processing information is utilized by social scientists. Whereas qualitative methodologies, which stress language rather than numbers in data collection. The structure of the analysis might be qualitative, quantitative, or depend on the research question. The strategy will assist in the most effective formulation, investigation, and providing of preliminary responses to the research issues that are being considered in research. A hybrid strategy will also help in the development of trustworthy and usable research outcomes, which is a plus. A technique that incorporates a variety of approaches will also provide more specific information on the predicted components, as well as a bigger data set to investigate the reliability and trustworthiness of all interpretations will be enhanced using many forms of evidence in triangulations process. About publishing and sampling, the sample could include entrepreneurs, I will take it later.
Businessmen.
Okay, business owner and other stakeholders that have been directly impacted by PRI initiative in the MENA region, specifically in the 3 countries of Saudi Arabia and Egypt and Jordan. In order to collect data on PRI initiatives in the MENA region, interviews should be conducted with entrepreneurs, business owner, and other stakeholders. And I think I will change it to academic and experience in the field of political economy.
International relations.
Yeah.
Businessman.
I think how I can interview anybody in Egypt, how he give me any information.
Yeah. You could put in businesses instead of.
Okay. Business owner and the stakeholder that have been directly impacted by the initiatives. Interviews should also be conducted with government officials and representatives from the 3 countries in order to gain insight into the policies and regulations surrounding the initiatives. Additionally, interviews with members of the general public can provide valuable insight into how the initiatives have impacted the level of everyday citizens. I think this one, I think I changed it, but maybe I'm not safe. To be honest with you, I will change this one.
Go ahead. Okay.
Okay. Now, about the qualitative research question. Qualitative research question. I know it's small, but what I can do, I will take total 40 and semi-structural question will be asked to the respective individual of experts and academic in the field of international political economy. For example, in investment, what is the volume of Chinese investment in this country? And in return, are there any outward investment in China? About agreement, does the BRI provide both-way free trade agreement? About geopolitical, how will the Belt and Road Initiative affect economic cooperation between the 2 countries' main maintain the relationship with non-PRI countries. You want to complete as an example? Okay. About data collection method, the qualitative data will be collected from the expert and academics in the field of international political economy. The procedures of collecting data, formulating questionnaires that will ask to the expert and the academic in the field of international political economy through online media and face-to-face. Audio recording, formulating in the interview, collecting the data. Then I will, based on the interview, the data will be analyzed and result will be provided alongside with the quantitative study result. I will use Unvivo. A pilot study, I put 3 years to make a pilot study for one country. I don't know if it is right or no. I think 3 years enough to pilot a study for one country.
3 years.
3 years.
I'll give my response. Go ahead. I will.
Okay, as I tell you, the formal will be used and the qualitative questionnaire will be applied for the interview with Unvivo software to analyze and present finding. And thank you.
Okay, good. All right. Okay.
If I have time, I can complete because I make some hidden PowerPoint. Yeah.
Okay.
After thank you, I have something.
Oh, good. That would be the good strategy to do.
Okay.
I'll do that. Okay. So you have reached the stage of presentation of your work, written the chapters as well. Now, I'm going to give you some feedback, yeah? Still on the presentation first, and then we talk about the content along the way. So you talk about speaking freely or reading from there. I mean, there are 3 options you can have. Yes, speak freely completely, right? In which case you want to have keywords, and then you can explain it, right? The other one is to actually read word by word, right? The third option is actually to combine, right? Speaking freely and reading word by word. My thought for you at this point is that you still want to maintain the sentences, you still want to maintain the statements, right? You can speak freely, but whenever you feel you're not sure, you go back to them. Okay, right. And one way to help is to highlight certain words. So you can look at the keywords and speak based on the keywords. Can you go to your problem statement? Good thing is that you came here and we work on it together. Okay, your problem statement says go to the next one. Yeah, okay. What is it that you talk about quantitative? Is it a problem statement? Must be, what is it? Must be done quantitatively. What is it? Is it the first part or the second part? We go back the first part. You need to talk about quantitative.
Quantitative?
Yeah, this is one. No.
I'm not talking about quantitative in the problem statement.
You did not, huh?
No.
So, go before that, see before that. Before. Go down. I noted that one from the stage.
I'm not thinking I'm talking about this.
Go there. One more. Okay, anyway, I'll talk about the quantitative.
There are some. Oh, okay. Based on qualitative, economic, political. This one.
Yeah,
Okay.
Such problematic question, which must be answered using quantitative indicators. Okay, so using a must is a strong word. Replace the must be answered with can be answered.
Which word? Wait.
Such problematic questions which must be answered, replace must with can be answered.
Can be.
Yeah,
Okay.
afterwards we'll explain. Yeah. And then before that, you use the word what stops. Go
Up or down?
up, I think. Okay, then last one. Go down again. Stop it. Right. This is a set of questions you have here, yeah? Problem statement. And the last part is what stops the overall improvement in economic relations between China and these nations from narrowing the political gap.
Yeah.
Okay. This is part of the problem statement, which is actually good to have, right? But you do not have that in your research questions.
What?
You do not have this in your research questions.
Yeah.
Okay, it's all right. This is where the improvement will come in. Now, your research, I'm going to jump a bit here and there. Right? Your research has both qualitative and quantitative.
Yes.
Mixed method. Right? So when you have mixed method, I mean, there are a variety of it, but the two main approaches in mixed method is explanatory or exploratory. Right? When you use exploratory, what it means is this: you will start with qualitative first.
Okay.
This is to find out. If you qualitative, will find out you do not know what the variables are, what the relevant items that you should be studying or whatever. You have a general idea, but you go in, right? So you explore first to start with qualitative. And then once you identify the relevant, the key concepts or the important parts of that you want to study, then you take that one, you research it quantitatively. So qualitative and then quantitative. That's called exploratory. Right?
Okay.
The other one is explanatory. Explanatory, to explain, right? The first one is to explore, the second one is to explain. So the explain is actually coming to what you're doing now. The explain is when you do quantitative first and then qualitative later. So quantitative is to see you have these variables, you have this things you want to look at, political proximity.
Okay.
You look at education, you look at policy, you look at the number of votings that are similar, not similar. And so you have to see a pattern, right?
Okay.
You have statistics, you have numbers, you look at patterns. And then you ask, why is that so?
What?
Why? What stops the overall improvement? Why are they improving? Why are they not improving? You ask the why question afterwards, right?
Okay.
That's the qualitative. So you have the data, you have the statistics first, and you ask why is that so? That is explanatory, right?
Okay.
Now, part that I think can be incorporated, should be incorporated in your research questions and in your study is the why part, right? So you have the political proximity, you develop the indicator, the index, whatever, right? Based on the voting pattern, the policies that is being formulated, the economic programs, whatever else, all that, the activities, right? From there, you see a pattern. You say, why do you have policies like this? Why do you have, Then you go to the qualitative, right? So now in your research methodology, you had the 14 respondents there, right?
Yeah.
Your 14 respondents is actually to help you develop the political proximity variables, to say, right? Remember we discussed what weightage you want to give, what value you want to give on. That will be on the quantitative part.
Okay.
Right? But the qualitative part is where you ask, why we have political proximity? Why do we have voting that are supportive of China or not supportive of China, for instance, right? Or UN voting, right? Or why do we develop these policies? So you can actually have a new set of data, a new set of findings to explain political proximity.
Mhm.
Right? So if you go back to your research question, can you go back to your research questions now? Okay, let's go back then. This doesn't change much, but it changes in a fundamental way. Remember we talked about we're concerned with two questions, right?
Yeah.
Now we include the third question. So the third question can be, right? What is it? How has political proximity? So the third question is a simple question, right? Why? What factors? So what factors?
Wait, bro.
What factors? Or you can just use the why. Yeah, up to you what you want to use, yeah. But I'm going to give you a draft one. What factors lead to the level of political proximity, the current level of political proximity? What factors lead to the current state of affairs, the current level of political proximity? Simple question there.
So, repeat, Dr. please, because I like the methodology very much.
Yeah, sure. Methodology is very important because
Yeah.
you know,
So,
yes,
the question of why use with explanatory.
it'll be explanatory. We will explain why, right?
Explain why. To
Explain.
start from quantitative to qualitative.
That's right. Yeah, the qualitative will explain why.
And what maybe with exploratory.
That's right. That's right.
Start from quantitative to quantitative.
Yeah, yeah. So qualitative, you say, oh, yeah, why are you depressed? Why are you depressed? Why are you because of this? Because of, all right, that's your thoughts. And then we say, is there a connection between depression and finance, depression and this? So that would be exploratory. Right? So we start with that one. So Samir, you got that one. There's a third one, right?
Okay.
All right. Now, the part of your methodology that will need to change, will need to not change, improve, is the qualitative part after that. So, what you want to do is you can say have the same group of people that you ask, but why?
Okay.
But you can add some more.
Working the question, I will add some.
You can add this. You can have the same people because they're experts, right?
The experts.
The experts, right?
Yeah, the expert, I will put 14.
We have 14, isn't it? Isn't it? You have 14, no?
No, 14. 14
I
questions.
don't remember number 14 somewhere. There? Oh, total semi-structural questions. Okay. All right. It's okay. It's good. All right.
Okay.
So these are semi-structured questions, right? This is not the people. So the why can be explained by the experts and the people who have experienced the change.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So suppose they are being impacted by the policy or BRI or something of collaborative project.
Some people care about education. Some people care about investment. Some people.
Yeah. So that would be the sampling that you want to take for your qualitative questions to answer research question number 3.
Okay.
So now you have the political proximity.
That's to understand. To understand.
Yes, why is it so? Why do we have this? Why do we have that?
First, number one, I will add the question number 3 for the research question.
Yes.
Then I will go to the methodology and add some question for qualitative research question.
Question is number 3.
Number 3, I will add it on this table. Right?
So there are two parts to your qualitative research, right?
Yeah.
One is to develop or to give weightage, to give value to the variables that you identify.
This is different. This table different. Not this one.
Not this one. Okay.
No, not this one. This one I will put the variables.
Okay.
For example, I tell you I hidden something because I know what's they happen. I will take the United Nations, the voting in the United Nations. Okay. and I will take this indicator: trade exchange, investment, direct foreign investment, uh, economic cooperation, agreement, education, regional and international political cooperation. Okay, this one I put after consulting experts. This is example. I will send, for example, I will send this table by email to Prof. Muhammad Rivani. And please, doctor, can you give me weight for this indicator? I will send for Muhtadi, for example. Can you give me? Then I will take all and put average.
Okay, sure.
Average for this, for you and Muhtadi and
Whatever else.
experts. Okay? And indicator wise after statistical processing after consultant expert. And this one I will put what the percentage very high, which one low, and I will send this table. Then this is the very important. This is the timeline. This is very important. The results very important. You see, bro, here. But after that, I will try acceleration between 2013 to 2024. No, the acceleration every, for example, every 1 year
Increased by 10%.
increase by, for example, 1%.
Yeah.
That means I can know what's the future, what's the relationship between the China and the Middle East, or case study.
On education, for example. On
No, for all.
For all, okay.
No,
So
because
composite.
I will average it all.
Okay, so right.
I will average it all because that I'm talking about political proximity.
Right. So the proximity will be
Okay.
the index, the indicator, yeah? Okay. So,
Yeah, because that I'm talking about political proximity.
okay, all right. So, all right. So, going back to to question number 3, question number 3 is just to explain why. That's all. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? So, the question number 3, there will be people who say, well, because they will have their own explanation, right? So it can be political, it can be social, it can be economic, it can be security. So
What is it?
there'll be, right? So
احنا وين جبنا هذا السؤال نمبر 3؟
Samir, when you have done that,
What?
once you have included this is question number 3, and then you put in your methodology to include sample, you can come up with sample of. I would recommend more than 30. More than 30 people to interview for the why part.
Doctor, Ralph, I don't need to make people because I know. Bro, this is a huge work.
It is a huge work, I know.
Huge work. The voting, the United Nations, I know there are 7,010 decision.
Yes.
I will analyze
700.
710. It's huge. And I will communicate with experts, and I will. It's a huge work.
Right.
I will try to change it in
What-
the methodology.
You could can expand the type of people you want to question. You know, not just the policy makers. It can be
30 people. I will take 10 from
corporate.
Jordan, 10 from Saudi Arabia, 10 from Egypt.
You could do that.
Yeah.
You could do that. So it can be from the corporate. It can be from the university. It can be for religious people. It's
But
fine.
the
too.
university, I will take it as academic or experts.
You could. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
It doesn't matter. All you need to do is to justify why you have included them. You just explain why. For academic, this is the reason. For government people, this is the reason. For business people, this is the reason. For instance, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's all.
Maybe the trade exchange to be faster after the BRI. Oh, sure,
Maybe.
oh,
Sure,
sure,
because- Yeah,
not
yeah.
maybe, sure.
Yeah. But we do that. Okay, you're ready then. You
Alhamdulillah.
can do that. If you do that, maybe you can improve that one and see. And on Monday you go.
I
But
don't
Monday
know.
you close.
Mumtaz-
Today you can.
Muhtadi, I don't know.
So afterwards, no, Samir,
Yeah.
right after this, go to the
Okay.
office.
I think we should please stop the record.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry. You're not saying something bad.
Now because we are
Okay, there's nothing bad. Okay.
I think all the
Pause. Yeah. Yeah. She said.
Can you give me 1 minute to bring the paper before close?
I will bring
I
that.
think.
Okay, I'm glad you
Stay,
agree.
stay.
So anyway, so let's complete our
Okay.
formal discussion. Before we do the
No,
operational-
I'm happy. You don't know what's the problem in my country now.
Okay.
They are a war. They are a war.
Qatar is a war?
No, between me and family. My wife.
Oh, okay. She wants you back faster.
Yeah.
Okay. Any questions or any comments you want to make, or
Uh,
or some inputs you want to share as well before we?
You advise me to show this one
I cannot see that one. Oh, it's this one.
and this one
Uh-huh.
and this one.
Yeah, you could do that. But what you could do is your strategy is good. Is actually I do that as well. Would keep some after thank you,
Yeah.
just to make sure that I meet the time 15-20 minutes. And if they were asked,
I know because that I will put
Yes.
because I know there are maybe some misunderstand. Okay, I will explain what's in my idea or what's the idea. But you tell me in PowerPoint, the PowerPoint need change or what?
Okay, I did not. But you have this list of.
Big. I think methodology big. I do not the methodology.
Okay, fine. Right. Make it legible. Is it?
Yeah.
But when you have when you see when you go like roll where like your population sample is now. Okay. Well, another thing I want to comment to you. Now, pilot study. It's not 3 years. Yeah. Pilot test. You do not need pilot study is you develop your instruments, your research question with a lot of people.
This is the best. Yeah.
It's just
Everyone.
maybe 5 or something like that. Right? 5 would be enough because you do not a lot. Just a test, and then so that's what we call pilot study. So you do not 3 years. Maybe
if you
30
remember,
days.
I asked you about the pilot study. You tell me next time I will talk to you.
Okay.
I